Hey everybody. So we have another coach firing to talk about, and this one is not a surprise. I've been saying this guy was on thin ice for quite a while now, and it's Mike Yeo in St. Louis. Yeo was fired last night after St. Louis lost to the LA Kings 2-0. So the Blues this year are 7-9-3. They just got shut out by the worst team in the league last night, 2-0 to the Kings. And you had to see this coming. St. Louis has been maybe the biggest disappointment in the league this year. And you knew that Yeo was on his way out. And a loss like this to the worst team in the league was the final straw. And I'm not surprised at all to see Yeo out. I thought him or Hackstall would be the next one to go, and he's been the next one to go. St. Louis had so many expectations this year after the offseason they had. Missing the playoffs last year was a huge disappointment. They made a lot of changes. They made trades. They added free agents. They were supposed to be a contender in the West this year. Not just a playoff team, a contender. And they are currently 2 games under 500, a mile out of a playoff spot, and in big, big trouble. They are watching their season go down the drain. And I wasn't sure if they were going to fire Yeo this quickly. Things like that get trades and firings and stuff. That gets touchy around the holidays, and with Thanksgiving only 2 days away, I wasn't sure if they would wait until after Thanksgiving to do it. Just, to be nice, basically, to Mike Yeo. But business is business, and a loss like this is completely unacceptable. So I'm actually not at all surprised that they said, screw it, we're done. So they fired Mike Yeo. They've named Craig Berube as interim head coach. I didn't like Berube as the Flyers coach. I don't think he was a particularly good coach in Philadelphia. That was a few years ago. Maybe he's grown, gained some more experience, and going to be better with St. Louis. Still, if I'm St. Louis, I'm not trying to stick with Berube. I don't think. I am looking for an outside candidate, and that outside candidate's name is Joel Quenneville. If I am the St. Louis Blues, I am immediately on the phone with Joel Quenneville, trying to get him to come back to St. Louis and be the Blues head coach, because he is a guy who can take a team like St. Louis with a good roster but not performing and make them winners and make them a winning team and probably get them to the playoffs even with this bad start. But time is ticking. We're a quarter of the way into the season now. It's really hard to make up points in the NHL, and it's really hard to pass over teams. So St. Louis, with every day that goes by that they pick up another loss and everyone else picks up wins or OT losses and are picking up points, St. Louis is losing ground that's extremely hard to get back. So they need to make a move now in the standings if they want to have a chance to be a playoff team this year. So I would strongly, strongly consider bringing in Joel Quenneville and see if he has any interest at all, because I think any team that is underperforming at this point is looking at the possibility of bringing in Quenneville. So St. Louis fired their coach early. They've got to jump on that opportunity because if a team like Philly fires their coach or a team like Pittsburgh fires their coach, then they're going to be jumping on Quenneville as well. So St. Louis has a chance here to do it and get it done early. St. Louis's next 5 games are extremely difficult and extremely important. 4 of the next 5 are division games. Just to finish out this week, so Craig Berube is the new head coach, and what is he walking into? To finish out this week, St. Louis has Nashville, and Winnipeg. Are you kidding me? And then next week, to finish out the month of November, they have Detroit in Colorado. 4 of the next 5 are in-division games. 4 of the next 5 are against divisional opponents that are ahead of you in the standings. Nashville and Winnipeg are 2 of the best teams in the league. Very, very difficult schedule for the rest of November for St. Louis. Now, if they win some of these games, they can make up some serious points in the standings. That if they can get back to 500 or better and beat Nashville and beat Winnipeg and beat Colorado, they can make up some serious ground in the standings. However, if they lose these games or if they only win one of these games, their season could be over. If they lose 4 of their next 5 and they end up like, 8, 12 and 3 or something like that, their season could be over. They could be right down with LA in the bottom of the standings where there's just no coming back from. So this is a lot of pressure on Craig Berube. This is a lot of pressure on the St. Louis Blues for this early in the season. But their whole season could be determined by these next 5 games. I mean, that is quite the stretch. Nashville, Winnipeg, Detroit, and Colorado. That is not a fun stretch. They have got to pull some points out of those games, or they are going to get left behind in the Western Conference standings. So, with that, St. Louis has made their move, and I am not surprised. Anyone with a brain saw that Yeo was on his way out, and that loss last night was the final straw. Getting shut out by the worst team in the league, and just in a game that you had to win, a game that you absolutely had to win. Unacceptable, and Yeo's find himself fired for it, and he deserves to be. And now Craig Berube is taking over on an interim basis. If I was St. Louis, I would be going after Joel Quenneville. But that's just me. So that's what I've got on Yeo's firing. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support Off the Wall Hockey, the link to our Patreon as well as the link to our merch store is down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.